Welcome back to The Weather's Crazy and I Don't Know What I'm Doing. I'm your host, Bob Claggett. A couple of weeks ago, I was working in the snow, putting on the roof, and now it's 64 degrees, although I'm not complaining. Before Christmas, I finished up the roof. Then I took a couple weeks off, and now we're back, and we're gonna finish up the underside of the roof, both over here and over here. This area of the roof is called the soffit, and I think it's pretty easy to cover up with soffit material, which is typically vinyl or aluminum. Let me show you what I'm talking about. I decided on black vinyl soffit material because the black was a lot cheaper in vinyl than it would have been in aluminum. But all of these little marks down here are vent holes, and that's so that air can travel from the low side of the roof up and vent out the high side of the roof so that moisture doesn't get trapped in there. You can also get this stuff without the vent holes in it, and people typically kind of mix vented and non-vented. It doesn't all have to be vented, but that's all I bought because why not? This stuff comes in a long panel like that, and you cut it down to the length that you need. Then this little hook on this side goes and snaps over this little round part on this side, and you can just lock the pieces together. So to fill that whole area, you just have a bunch of these pieces, they all lock together, and then they slide up in there. But they go into something that I haven't put in place yet. This is called F channel, which I assume is because when you flip it over, it looks like an F, but I don't really know. Basically, it goes up against the wall like this. You drive in some nails or screws to hold it in place, and then the soffit material kind of tucks into this area, and then the other side tucks into what I already put in place. Let me show you. When I put on this metal fascia, I made sure to leave a gap right here in between it and the wood so that the soffit can just go right in. But I've got to figure out how to get this F channel in the right position, at the right angle, so that the pieces will go straight across from this side to this side. And I have an idea. Basically, I'm gonna take a level and run across here from this point. And as long as this thing is level, that's gonna transfer that point over to this wall, and then that will be the bottom of the F channel, I think. Oh, what's happening? My chalk line has a knot in it. How does that even happen? Oh, wow. That's not cool. Oh my gosh. This is so obnoxious. So I'm about 2 feet short of getting the chalk line in place because there's a knot in the string, and so it won't come out of the hole. Well, okay, let's try something else. Okay, well, my plan was to put a chalk line in between those two nails, snap the line, and then use that chalk line as a reference point to hang the F channel. But it decided to get a tangle in it, so we're gonna use non-chalk line to effectively do the same thing. It'll just take longer. Okay, now for clarity, the nails on both ends of that are actually gonna be slightly in the way, but I think because this just didn't work out like I was expecting, I'm just gonna set the F trim right on top of it, which is gonna make it about 1/8 of an inch higher than the outside fascia, but only you and I are ever gonna know that, so I'm not worried about it. Now these pieces are very floppy, kind of long and hard to deal with, and the end of them is gonna have to sit down in the gap of the fascia on the very end, which means I have to trim off part of it before I can actually put it in place. Now the hard thing about this is that the long end is actually gonna be up here working against me. It's like gonna try to pull everything down. So I'm gonna have to kind of work in the middle and then backward, I think. And to put this in, I'm just using leftover roofing nails. I don't know if that's right or not, but I've got them here. And I do know that you don't wanna nail this in tight. You wanna leave the nails a little bit loose so that it can expand and contract. I can see why using screws might be easier because it's actually kind of hard to hold a nail above behind this thing and be able to hammer it in. I guess longer nails may fix that, but screws, also an option. Ah! Ow! Ah! Okay. Other than the chalk line being done, that was relatively easy. So next, we got to cut down some of the soffit material to put in there. Now, this stuff has to lift into one side and then flatten out and then back into the other side. So I'm not exactly sure the length. Like, it's gotta be longer than the opening, obviously, but it can't go all the way to both edges where it can't do this thing. So I'm just gonna have to measure and then experiment. I saw people recommending to turn the blade on a circular saw backwards to cut this stuff. Otherwise, it's just gonna chip and throw things everywhere. So that's what I'm gonna try. So one panel of this stuff yielded about 9 of these pieces, which means I'm gonna have a whole lot of cutting to do. But I'm gonna go ahead and get these in place to make sure my measurements are right, and I just kinda wanna see how it looks. That looks pretty good. Usually people will do a vented piece of soffit and then a couple that are not vented because you don't really need them all to be vented. But with black, you can't even see it. It's a lot more obvious with the white ones, although even then it doesn't look bad. All right, gotta cut more pieces. That actually turned out pretty well. It took a little bit longer than I thought, but I think the other side, when I do it, will be a little bit faster. But next up, I gotta work on the end. And putting up that little F channel, I think is gonna be a lot easier because I can just stick it up against the bottom of the rafters. Done. That's finished, and it actually wasn't that hard, and I think it looks fantastic. The black was absolutely the right choice, but now we need to talk about that section. Originally, my plan was to put soffit around this outside as well, but I didn't really think that much into it, and I'm actually glad that I decided against it because it turns out I didn't order enough. So I do have another plan, but I wanted to point out that this section is actually just kind of outdoor. This roof is only here to cover the pool equipment, and so it's gonna be open to the air, even though we're gonna put up some sort of a screen here eventually so you don't have to look at it. So anyway, as far as the ceiling, I think we're gonna do tongue and groove, which is something else that I've never done before. Actually, that's not entirely true. I have done a whole bunch of hardwood flooring, which is tongue and groove, and it's actually the exact same thing, just on the ceiling instead of the floor, so this probably won't be that bad. But before I even get to the wood, I need to add a box for a light. So eventually, this wire is gonna go in this piece of conduit, which will be stuck right there and connected to this box. But I forgot to get the clips to stick this thing, and I forgot to get the connector to put those together. Luckily, we don't have to do any of that right now. All I really needed to do was get the box and the wire in place so we can work on the ceiling. For the tongue and groove, I just got some pine boards. These have a bead on one side, and on the other side, they're flat, so you get a couple of different options for how it looks. This stuff is unfinished, so I'm definitely gonna have to seal it once I get it up there. But as far as putting it up there, I think you just put a piece in place, brad nail it, and then hook in the next one, brad nail that one, a whole bunch of times. I need to figure out where to start. The way most people do this is they find the center point, and then they measure from there to one full side, subdivide that by the width of the board to make sure that they don't have like a little sliver that they have to figure out what to do with. In my case, that's not actually gonna be a big deal at all. But the more important thing about measuring to the center is to make sure that your line from one side to the other is straight. You don't want to start on one end and then end up getting crooked as you go all the way up. You'll have tilted lines, and I don't want that. So I'm gonna find the center. It's also worth pointing out that my span here from side to side is about 12.5 feet, which is just because I designed it that way. I didn't really think ahead to this. But the place that I bought the boards, they came in 8, 10, and 16-foot lengths, which means they're either gonna be too short or way too long. And so if I want a solid piece across, I'm gonna have a huge amount of waste. So I decided to get the 8-foot boards. There are gonna be seams, but I'm gonna try to place them in a way that they're not super obvious and they're offset so none of those seams line up from bottom to top. This video is sponsored by Mint Mobile. Everything's expensive these days and we're all trying to save money, and one way you can do that is on your phone with Mint Mobile. Now this is possible because they don't have any retail stores or salespeople. They keep their overhead low to make things easier and cheaper for you. But just because it's cheaper doesn't mean it's not good coverage. This is premium wireless on the T-Mobile network, and every plan has unlimited talk, text, and data on the nation's largest 5G network. Plus, there's no hidden stuff, no jargon, and they'll even tell you if you should be paying less money. One of the coolest things about it is that you can switch to Mint Mobile right now from where you are. You can sign up with eSIM at home. You can keep your phone, your number, and all your contacts. And you've got a 7-day unconditional money-back guarantee. It's definitely something you should check out. Use the QR code on screen. Go check out Mint Mobile, and when you use this code or the link down in the description, you're gonna get the first 3 months of service for $15 a month. That's a really good deal. Be sure to go check them out, and huge thanks to Mint Mobile for sponsoring the video. I got the first board up there, but I can tell one thing that's gonna be really annoying about this process is that all of this pool equipment is right in the way, and I can't stand on almost any of it. I've got a problem here. I'm stuck on something, so I'm just gonna think out loud to the camera. I measured down the same distance on several rafters from the high point and then tried to put boards across that line. But they didn't line up. They weren't straight to each other, even though the ends are square, and they should be fine. To get them to line up, I actually had to change their position relative to the marks that I made. And now, when you look up there, they're in line with each other, but they look tilted to the whole thing. So I'm actually pretty confused as to what the problem is and what the best solution is. So if that board is not square to the top and the bottom edges, as I work my way out, I'm gonna end up with the top and bottom that are both slightly at an angle, which means the last pieces I cut to put in there are gonna have to be cut long ways at an angle to fit. Not only is that gonna probably look bad, it's gonna be kind of difficult to cut that angle over 12 feet or so. So I'm thinking maybe instead of starting in the middle, I start at the top end where you're gonna be able to see it the most, work my way all the way down to the header here, and then just have to deal with one of those that's up behind something that you won't really look at once it's all said and done. I think that's the best way, but I kind of wish I knew what the actual problem was rather than working around it. It's actually going pretty well, and I'm finally up to this box. I've got to notch out like one of these boards to go around the box, and rather than do that on a big long piece, I'm gonna figure it out on a scrap, cut this hole, and then once I know it works, I'll transfer this to an actual long board. I'm making some pretty good progress. I will say that this is not really hard work, but working overhead at an angle is just awkward. And so some of the seams where pieces go together, I wish they looked a little bit better, but it's just kind of hard to gauge everything at the same time, hold it in place, knock it into place, nail it into place, all that. Overall, I think it's looking pretty good. And tomorrow I can finish it up. I'm finally at a point where I'm up to figuring out the pieces that have to go right next to the beam. And honestly, I've not really planned this. I mean, like, I don't really know what I'm gonna do with this beam and these posts. I could paint them black, I could wrap them in wood to make them beefier and then paint them black. Honestly, I don't know, but I'm gonna do something. So right now, I'm not really worried about trying to get this tongue and groove to go right up and look really nice against the top of the beam. I just wanna get it close enough that I can cover it up with some sort of trim later on. So one thing about this is I'm gonna cut a piece that goes here that's as big as possible, but because there's a tongue and groove, it has to be able to fit up in and then slide back. So I'm gonna like naturally lose a lot of space up here. Plus we got this thing in the way, we have the rafter ties in the way. So this joint or this gap is not gonna look good for a while. Getting these pieces to reach around the end of the beam wasn't really a big deal, and it's gonna look fine once it gets trimmed out one of these days. But getting these pieces to come forward and wrap around on both ends and then meet up in the middle is just gonna take a little bit more planning. I keep expecting something to be difficult, to be a problem. It's actually just working out, which is very cool. So close, I'm getting so close. Now I have to bend the fascia back a little bit, but otherwise it's done, almost. Actually not, it's almost done. Now the reason I said I have a couple things left to do is because I still need to sand. I've got pencil marks and mallet marks. For some reason I used a black mallet. I've got to sand all that off and get it ready for the second thing, which is adding finish. This is pine, and it's not gonna get direct rain, but it's absolutely gonna get rain that's blown in by wind, so I've gotta finish it. I'm gonna use a spar varnish to protect the wood. Even though I'll have to put this on every few years, it actually should hold up pretty well. In regard to the two things that I did in this video, they were both huge steps forward in making this thing look less like a construction project and more like a building, and neither one of them were very hard. A wise person told me one time that a construction project is always about covering up the previous day's work. And that's the truth with this. This was easy work, but it made the stuff underneath it go away. It just looks a lot better. And once we get the siding on, it's gonna look awesome. Speaking of, siding's next. Catch you then. This is called F channel because when you look at it this way, it's an F. Oh boy. Huh, how did I get that wrong? Oh, I measured from the wrong side. Dang it. Dang it, what is wrong with my mouth?